Welcome to the How to Build series. I am N-Key. How are all of you today? Welcome everyone to a new series I wish to put out. Hopefully, by the end of this series we will have a functioning sprite. Today's video is very simple and light. Think of it as a starter or intro to the series. We will basically just build the base sprite for an idle sequence. Maybe 2 images to get the feel for what we are up against. This is much more tedious and time-consuming than it is hard to do. For starters, hope everyone has a modular sprite sheet layout similar to mine. The modular sprite sheet on screen should handle an up, down, left, right movement sequence. We will focus on the basic left and right movement builds this time around. If you do not have a modular sprite sheet, they are quite easy to find or even make nowadays with some simple prompts. There are sprite generators out there. You still need to do work on them. They are almost never perfect. For me anyway, that seems to be the case. So I draw mine out, quick sketch, then run it through something for the finishing touches. It would take over a week to hand draw all this out. And that is time. Let's start. Okay then, this second window open is the sprite build canvas, sized at 512 by 512 pixels. I personally just use 1024 resolution, yet it doesn't matter. I know 512 by 512 is sorta big. It is easier to make the sprites smaller than it is to make them bigger. The bigger the sprite, the more pixels. Might be able to get it down to 128 by 128. I have not tried, let me know in the comments below. And this third window I have open is that actual sprite sheet. This is set at 4096 by 4096 pixels at 1024 resolution. These blue squares are layers that will be removed later. They are each 512 by 512, the size of the sprite. Once all sprites are placed on the sheet, these blue indicator boxes will be removed. It is an easier way to make sure the sprites are more aligned onto the same plane, to help curb jittering in the animation. Oh and yay, and this makes for any easy smooth transition if you want to extract the sprites into a game editor or animation set up for sizing and scale. You know that fun stuff. This fourth opened window is the sprite box itself. You can use any color you wish. I just use 3 different shades to break it up a bit. Then place each one next to the other, never overlapping the other box, nor ever placing the sprite box, if not completely on the canvas. This can cause later issues down the line, especially during some forms of sprite extraction. Now with the basics and setup covered, let us get started with some sprite building. Today we will focus on building our base sprite into a character and possibly a frame or 2 to get the workflow feel. So let's get our selection tool and start with the head of the character. It is important to highlight just the head and nothing else. Once this is done, I will go to my tools and select the magic wand feature. Once you have the magic wand tool, choose a remove or subtract option. For Paint.net, it is the 3rd tab from the tools bar option, upper left-hand corner of your screen. Then with the subtract remove tool, select the highlighted area around the head itself. This ensures that the entire image of just the head is fully selected. We can copy this now if our selection looks good after a quick spot check. That looks good on my side, so I will copy this. If you need to adjust or are having issues with the selection tool, play with the selection tool tolerance. Once copied, let's paste it onto our 5012 by 512 canvas. Place it decently for now, as long as the character is on the entire canvas, which it should be. There is enough room. Back to the modular sprite sheet here. Alright, next we will start with the upper body. This is just the beginning of a repetitive journey. Going between canvases, wait till we start playing with the layers. Okay, let's grab this upper body section over here. Once highlighted, we do the same exact steps we did with the head. Select just the upper body, then grab the wand tool. With the wand tool, remove the highlighted areas around the image. Then copy the upper body if you are happy with the selection. Once copied, let's go back to the sprite sheet and place it on the canvas. Make sure you paste it in as a layer and not an image. You will then place the upper body to its proper position. Note, if you notice this image is above the head image. That is fine, we will adjust that in the layers section. Let's drop this layer real fast. Just slide over to the layers indicator. Select the upper body and move it down. Good. Now here I will resize the layer to be a bit more proportionally correct. Just select and highlight the layer that needs adjusting. Then adjust to your liking. Almost there, just a few more moments please. I think that this is good on the body section. I will need to downsize the head a little. Let me try that. Let's grab this and move it down. Okay, get the head, get the selection highlight right, resize this bad boy. Yeah, that will work. That isn't too bad. Alright, at first I was up in the air about what next. I did originally think arms, then realized maybe I should finish the body first. So decided to set up the tunic image next. So let's set up and grab that piece now. Same exact way as the other two images we did. Just always remember, especially after the first image paste on the sprite sheet, every copy and paste should be of a new layer for every other paste afterwards. Now let's take the tunic and paste it on the sprite sheet. Then move it to where it needs to go for now. Once again I need to play with the sizing, which is actually fine. I will only be doing this once anyway, so not a big issue. This is going to be the case throughout. That is just part of the process in creating these types of sprites raw like this. Now we will handle the arms. Here is also where we will sort of cheat to save time and speed things up ever so slightly. I will select this basic one right now to start. Now we do the same technique for the arm as the other images. Then set the arm where it needs to be. Adjust the layer accordingly. For me, this layer should be below the upper body image. Once we do that, we'll go more in detail about that little cheat I mentioned. Just set the arm image to the area you are comfortable with. Give me a second please, I am being picky here with my placement. I want this somewhat right. Once I have it where I want, I will drop the layer down behind the upper body layer. Now for this little cheat method. Copy and paste as a new layer that exact arm from the sprite sheet. Now in the Resize or Edit Layers tab on the top of my screen for me, and select the horizontal flip option for the layer you just pasted. You now have the upper left arm. You can just place this in the position it needs to be. It should be at the correct layer level too. Being picky again, almost there with this arm. There we go. Alright, both upper arms are placed. Next we will do the forearms for each side, followed by the hands. As I scroll the modular sheet, I do notice an issue. I forgot to put in different positioned gloved hands. This is fine, I will improvise here. I will just remove the hand section of a forearm with a glove hand or gauntlet, whatever you wish to call it, and make it more of a wristband. This will be a little extra work, nothing life-altering, I assure you. I have a forearm image in mind already. Let me just scroll to it and select it. I will grab the selection tool. Then carefully trace where the hand meets the wrist, as closely and carefully as possible. Then highlight the entire hand. Then delete the selection. Let me show you. I will start slowly where the slice will be on this image. Then encircle the selection. Then delete it from the canvas. With that, we now have a forearm section. Let us select, copy, and then paste this as a new layer on the character sprite sheet. Once the image is pasted in, place the forearm where it needs to be. Then, just like our arms section, copy and paste that same forearm image as a new layer. Then use the horizontal flip option so you can now see and set the other forearm. After placement for both forearms are completed, we will set the focus onto the hands. And once those are done, the legs to complete the character build. So let us get our hand image. I am going to go and select the fist here. And as I can see, I will be resizing this too. After I select the fist, I will run through all the repetitive processes of what we have been doing. Grabbing just the image, copying it, then pasting in the new layer onto the working sprite sheet canvas. Then I will slide this close to the character. For sizing reference, rotate the fist to how I want it to be. Then I will rescale the fist to a proportionately aesthetic size. Once I am happy with the sizing, I will move the fist to its location. Situate the fist a bit, maybe some slight rotating to sit correctly with the eye. And after my positioning, I will grab the fist layer and drop it behind my character's forearm. Some minor adjustments, and finished. Now, just like our arms, where we made duplicates and flipped them, well, we are going to do that again with our fist. Okay, now to position this where it belongs and get it to sit correctly. There we go, not bad, our top half is completed. Looks pretty good too, even at a smaller scale, which is somewhat important. Now we just need our legs to be complete with the sprite build for what will be our idle animation sequence. Let's get an upper leg section here and do the whole copy and paste routine. Alright, now let us do all the things we need done to set this upper leg. Quick pointer, the leg pieces should be layered below the arms and hands. Another thing here is that we will be improvising on these leg parts. We will have to make the upper part conform to the shape of the tunic, at the area where the leg should be coming out from. So let's just place this leg piece where it needs to be. After the leg piece is positioned, zoom in pretty close to where the leg meets the tunic. We then want to take the upper leg layer and make it transparent. I have this option in my layers indicator. Select the layer, then the wrench icon to adjust transparency. We do this so we can trace the edges of the tunic as accurately as possible. I personally use my freehand selection tool. It looks like the lasso usually on paint programs. Take your time with this. You want to be as close and accurate as possible. If your image like mine has a softness applied, the edges you clip off will be clean and not so smooth. If you do not understand what I am getting at, you will see what I mean eventually. Even though my selection is chaotic looking, anything outside the upper leg image will not be affected. As long as you trace around where the leg is overlapping the tunic precisely enough, you should be fine. Once you remove the unwanted section of the image, let's set the transparency back up all the way and see how this upper leg sits. It looks okay, a bit rough. That is what I was trying to state before. You can clearly see the seam from the cut. First, I will drop my leg layer behind the arms because I forgot to. Then slightly move the upper leg up under the tunic to give a cleaner look. That looks good. Now I am wondering if the copy-paste flip trick will work here. I will test it out. If not, we will do this one individually. Let me grab this upper leg layer, copy, paste flip, then move it to the desired location. That does work just fine. Perfect, I will make some minor adjustments as needed. Just the lower legs to go. Doesn't look bad zoomed out either. That is absolutely fine. Well, let's start the focus on the lower legs then. I will use this one here, select it and copy. Like I stated earlier, this is extremely repetitive, so I will not keep repeating these steps. I think we all understand how the placement sorta works with this type of sprite build. When we have our lower leg pasted onto our sprite sheet, move it to the position you desire. Keep this lower leg layer under the upper leg layer. You will notice a small seam at the joints, nothing too crazy. Might not even need to do anything. Let's see. That will pass, I absolutely can live with that. Now for the copy, paste and flip of this lower leg image. Once we do that, just place this lower leg where it needs to be. Make your adjustments to how you like. And there you go, your character is finally, well, a character. Now that we have a full character, you should save this canvas with its layers. If you do not save this page with the layers, you will need to redo this all. On Paint.net, if I do not merge my layers, it saves as a layer image file. If you are not using Paint.net, see if your program has that feature. Now that build is done, let us set this in the main sprite sheet canvas. The canvas with the shaded color boxes. Now that we have a full character, you should save this canvas with its layers. If you do not save this page with the layers, you will need to redo this all. First thing first though, before we do that, the character that was just built, take the option to copy merged image, then paste as a new image. This locks the layers in the pasted image without having to deal with the character build sheet. You will then select just the character from the new pasted image. Copy it, then paste it to the main sprite sheet. Once the character is pasted onto the canvas, usually this is where you pay attention to the rulers. For now I will just eye it up, keeping the character fully in the box. Just make sure the character is the top layer of the box, not set behind it like I did. With this now set up, let us do one extra frame, just to see the workflow that will be used. Okay, once situated, what I plan on doing is making a copy of the character we just placed on the main sprite sheet. Then we will overlay it on top of the layer sprite sheet. Then, set the transparency to about halfway. Damn, I was a bit sloppy here. On the layered sprite sheet, I never named the body parts. This is a wise idea to do. It is easier for the workflow to be handled. You will be able to know what layer is what piece, instead of haphazardly fumbling through all the layers to find the one you are looking for. So do that now if you have not done so already. I will do that now. Also, I will speed up this section since we are just labeling the body parts. Now that is taken care of, I will save this and get started on the next frame. If you didn't save yet, do so now if you would like. Now let's get the full copied character we made. The image with all the locked layers. Select the entire page or image. Take the magic wand selection tool and remove all selected areas that are not part of the character image. If you're happy with your selection when you have finished, copy and paste this as a new layer on the layered sprite sheet. Make sure it is the top layer also. Now that pasted character image should have transparency about halfway. To check if it is, I will select my head piece and move it slightly. See, now we know the layer is transparent. This will guide us through here as a template. I will explain. Let me grab the headpiece first. Make sure all images are deselected first before anything. Move the head slightly up. A few pixels will work fine. The transparent image shows how much movement the sprite will make next frame. We will do this with all the layered body pieces. Doing this process several times to set up an idle animation, which is by far the easiest. You can't notice on my screen, but I did shift my head slightly up. It was very little. I do not want that much movement on the head really. Just some slight movement action works fine for this animation. After the head placement is completed, let's get an upper arm piece. This will have even more movement. Like the head, I will slightly move up, and ever so lightly into the chest piece, 1 pixel. Then select that upper arm piece, and I give it a slight rotation clockwise. One thing I truly like about Paint.net is their selection tool. When you select an image, it has point to adjust sizing along certain points on the edges. There is one in the middle, I call the axis socket. Wherever you move this middle point, it dictates the axis of rotation. So in the upper arm, I move that point or socket to the shoulder area, and eye up the placement. After that, let's grab the forearm on the same side here. We will do the same thing here. I will move my socket where the elbow would be. Then give a slight counterclockwise rotation, adjusting the forearm placement as needed to look correct. Up, down, left, or right, whatever it calls for. I am good with this. Next, let's grab the fist here and adjust this. Same method we used for our forearm. Select, move, rotate, adjust, in that order. Once again, very repetitive steps. So do that and situate the hand into the placement and rotation you would like. Okay, now that this side of the arms is completed for this frame, let us grab the other side and start with the other upper arm. Same thing as before. Whatever process we did for the last arm, we will do for this arm. Only difference is the rotations. These will need to be reversed. If the other arm piece was rotated clockwise, then these need to be rotated counterclockwise. The same will go for the forearm and hand/fist. I believe you understand this enough now. Just keep on using the copy, paste, move, rotate, adjust system we made. Nice and simple. Same thing for this forearm. Just keep moving along and set this forearm to your liking. Once we complete that, we will handle the fist image for this side of the arm. Then we will adjust the body and tunic sections. Just about finished here with my fist. When done with that, let's select the body section. So I will select the chest image. Always make sure you are on the correct layer first. Once selected, slightly rescale the image. I will go slightly bigger on mine here. Very slight movements, sometimes some readjustment might be needed. Once we finish with that, we can grab our tunic piece. Alright, this image is set. Now for the tunic. We are almost done with this frame. Several more steps and we will set it up. Let's grab the tunic and select it. When selected, do the same thing as the body/chest piece. Just a slight resizing and some small adjustment is all this will need. Just a few more seconds. Okay, now that the entire body is finished, let's get the legs positioned. Here I will raise the upper leg slightly. Doing this, I will probably need to clean up the seam at where the upper leg and tunic meet. Nope, that actually sits pretty good. All the fine finishing details that need to be done will be the last thing that is applied. We would have to see if these sprites work first. I will show a basic type of technique I use to fix seams that fit awkwardly. Now select the lower leg image. This one is easy. We will take this image when selected and stretch it slightly upwards from the top of the lower leg image, sliding a small amount of the top of the lower leg under the upper leg layer. This will keep the actual foot stationary while allowing for a slight motion with the lower leg. After you complete that, we will grab the other upper leg image first. Then do all the same things we did for the previous upper leg. So let's do this now and adjust this image. Once I finish this, I will just select the lower leg image and stretch it up slightly. I do not believe I need to explain this process any further. It was pretty much the same exact thing, just for different pieces. This will now complete our character build. Now to see if there is any random pixels floating in the image due to the copy-paste method. First thing first, let's delete the character overlay template image. Should be the top layer. When you do this, you will actually see the movement a bit, since the overlay has been removed. After that, select the entire character and copy as a merged image. Take that and paste as a new image. After that, let us zoom in a bit to check how much pixel cleanup there is. I always have to do this. It is a pretty fast cleanup. Grab the selection tool. Select all those random pixels, then delete them. I just use the generic box selection here to do this. You can also use the eraser tool if you prefer. Now for that seam at the upper and lower leg areas. I will use the easiest method here on these. A very light digital airbrush type technique, like they used to do with photos way back. To do this, grab the dropper tool. Then find the mid-tone, something between the lightest and darkest color around the seam. Once you have your color, select the paintbrush tool. Set your size to your liking. Then for the hardness of the brush, drop it extremely low. Then paint the seam, clicking the mouse as if giving little bursts of paint or color. I like that. Okay, now let us do this to the other seam. Nice, we're done here and can now place this onto our main sprite sheet. Give me a second, I am being picky here. Just some extra hits here with the paintbrush tool. Okay, sorry for that. We now want to copy this image and set it onto the main sprite sheet canvas. Once the image is pasted on the main sprite sheet, line it up in the second box. I will just line up the feet here. Also, the correct way is to also find the center of the shaded box. From there, you should center the body to the center of the box. This helps with a smoother animation when the sprite sheet is extracted. This is where the side ruler use comes into play. Check where the bottom of the first sprite is located. Look at where the ruler is highlighted. Take the bottom number of the highlighted ruler section and place the second image or frame at the same exact number. If you would like, you can find the center of each box and place your sprite into position. I will do mine after all my frames for this animation are completed. I believe with that today we are finished. We built the character workflow sheet and utilized the actual main sprite sheet. We became familiar with unstructured workflow, along with setting up a sprite sheet. Next episode, I would like to finish this animation sequence. Maybe even import to a game engine to see what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe buttons. Until next time, happy gaming.